This presentation, Empowering You in Universal Design and Learning, we are going to present how you can use various ways in Canvas to apply universal design for the diverse needs of your classroom. We're going to go through basic universal design and executive functioning needs that are for the classroom. And we're going to use different guidelines and approaches and tools that you can use to make your classroom more accessible for various learning styles and disability needs throughout the college. Rob, next slide. I'm doing the introduction right now, and after me, Deborah Holper will be going through the different universal design connections and executive function. Regina Heinholzer from our instructional design department will be going over Immersive Reader and how it works in Canvas for you today. Deborah Carney, who is our faculty liaison for accessibility, will be going through how to use the accessibility checker. Robert Bowers will be going through the Immersive Reader in OneNote and the Math Reader. And then I'll be coming back to you for wrap up. I want to let you know, if you look at the bottom of your screen today, there is live closed captioning if you choose to use it. Also, we will not be taking questions just due to the fact we have such a large volume of information. However, if you do have questions, we will take them from the chat. Please put them in there and one of us will respond to you. Also, there's a flyer that will be up on the website today with all of our contact information. And if you would like a follow-up or personal training, please reach out to us and we will be more than happy to help you with any questions or support that you need. So that is our introduction for today. I'm going to turn it over to Deborah Holper, and she's going to take it away with your UDL connections and executive functioning needs.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'd like to share with you a story about a war veteran. He's in Colorado, and he's the first state lawmaker known to be using a wheelchair. Now, he has to have accessibility in the Capitol because he needs to meet with his colleagues and the people that he serves. But the Capitol building isn't fully accessible. So what's happening is, it's not taking me to where I have to go.
Where do you have to go?
I got to get it. It's not online, Rob. I have to click on War Veteran.
Oh, you're gonna have to exit out your PowerPoint to do so.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I'll start it again from where I should and
Yep.
try. Okay, let's see if it does it this time. I can't get it to go to the,
When you click on the link, it's gonna open up a new tab. So I would recommend getting out of that and then check your tabs on your browser.
okay, I'm not sure.
This is just what happens in the classroom.
Sorry, guys. It was doing fine yesterday. but
I
I
would just, Deb, just open it up on a new tab and then share that part.
Yeah, just share the new part, the tab that you open with the video.
Not sure how to get to the tab.
Instead
at
of the
this point.
PowerPoint, go open the tab with the video and then go to that tab. Drop the vid. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure how to get to the tab.
Hit the escape key. Maybe Zoom is taking up your whole screen.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of a
Yeah.
thing, all of us using one screen at the time. So it's kind of hard to bounce back and forth.
Let me try this. Nope, that's not doing it for me. So I'm not sure why it's not doing what I'm asking it to do. Let me see what I can do with this checker. Hang on. Maybe it needs to be refreshed.
Is it the war video? Because if you can't get to it, I could try getting it going for you.
I cannot get to it.
I
Or
will.
maybe you could Deb, maybe you could just tell us what goes on in that video.
Is it a video or is it the war link one?
It's the Warlink one. It's
Okay,
a-
I will share it for you. Hold on.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
There we go.
You
Thank
just tell
you.
me what to do.
All right, thank you. So this gentleman is David Ortiz, and he's a Colorado state legislator. He's the first a lawmaker known to use a wheelchair. It's not accessible. The Capitol building is not accessible to him. However, crews are building, if you scroll down a little bit, Rob. Keep going, there's another picture at the bottom of the ramps that they're building, and also an automatic door for him to get into the chamber. The one thing that he cannot do, scroll down just a little bit more. A little bit more, there's another photo, is get to the other lawmakers. And what happens is there's informal discussions that goes on. The space is too small for his wheelchair. The steps, too many steps for them to build a platform for him. So he's missing out on all the informal conversations that go on amongst the lawmakers. If you can go back up to where the ramp is. Thank you. He also cannot get to his platform. One of his jobs is to preside over the House floor. So 6 staffers will step in to lift him to his podium in his wheelchair. David stated that it's hard to imagine how many ways the world isn't accessible. State Representative David Ortiz's journey is of accessibility awareness. What I'd like to do is go back to my original slide. Thank you. You want to do it for me, Rob, or should I continue?
I will help you.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'd like you to think about now is what if the Capitol building is like the platform, like an online platform like Canvas? Who needs to be able to have robust conversations with their peers, faculty, and have a great academic experience? Could you click on? The answer is all learners. All learners can be with visual impairment, deaf or hard of hearing, mental health conditions, intellectual disability, physical disabilities, learning disabilities, are all different learning types, like kinesthetic learners, visual learners, auditory, or read-write learners. Can we go to the next slide? Today, I'd like to talk to you about autism, ADHD, and dyslexia. These are 3 neurological disorders, cognitive disabilities, sometimes known as invisible disabilities. Experts have taken a look at these and started to realize that autism, ADHD, and dyslexia are related. There's a thread of similarities of understanding, and that thread is the impairment of EF function. Can you go to the executive functioning article? Thank you so much. This article was written by a researcher. His name is Thomas E. Brown. And you're all going to have a link to this so you can learn a little bit more about executive functioning and also how it affects learning. But if you could go to the article, I want to show you something. And that is, scroll down to the second page, right here. Good. No, right there. Thank you. This chart explains the 6 functions of executive function, but it also, what Edwards did, or I'm sorry, what Brown did, is that he named each one of those functions. So let's look at the first function, that's activation. This is how we organize or prioritize and activate to work. And I guarantee I was organized when I first started doing this PowerPoint, but you kind of have to be able to, in our next one, focus and shift attention to other things. And that's what happened to me today too. Are you able to meet with any new emails that come on, phone calls, be able to move your task load to the next day if you need to? Effort is the third one, and that's your ability to regulate alertness, sustain effort, and processing speed. Are you able to understand what your processing speed is so that you can complete your tasks in a timely way? Have you built in breaks? Are you able to sustain the effort as you're going through your task each day? Emotions cover all 6 of the functions. And if all 6 of the functions are working really well, then
2 minutes.
frustration is low and anxiety is low. But if these pieces are not working together well, then frustration is going to be high, anxiety is going to be high, and that leads to incompletion of the tasks, which is the last one, action. Now, memory, in my eyes, is the little engine that could of the 6 functions. This is really important to have great working memory and accessing recall, but it does more than that. The ability to have an effective functioning working memory is really important, as Brown states, because so much of academic work depends on this. And we're going to talk in our next slide about working memory itself. Can you move it to the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, this is the slide about working memory. And another researcher named Miller in 1956 found the magic number of 7. And what that means is, +2 or -2, that an average person can hold information in the working memory and manipulate it between 5 and 9 pieces of information. They can do this with keeping their focus, but not with individuals who have impairments in working memory. It's really a juggling act for them. And once those files start to drop, the focus and attention starts to drop, and it leads to either procrastination or incomplete tasks. In the article, Brown points out that one of his patients describes his impairment is lacking a hold button. He can't hold that information in and manipulate other pieces of information at the same time. A student that I interviewed in an intake told me that her memory is like a black hole. The information goes in and it never is retrieved again.
30 seconds.
The next slide, please. An organization called CAST, or the Center for Applied Technology, also developed the Universal Design for Learning structure. And their aim is to change the design of the environment rather than to change the learner. When environments are intentionally designed to reduce barriers, all learners can engage in meaningful learning. And if we go back and think about the David Ortiz, if he was able to get into the areas where conversations were happening amongst other representatives, what a great experience he would have. And what a richer, more robust experience everyone else would have if his barriers were removed. Garen Dawson, in Smart but Scattered, Guide to Success, Offloading to Technology, was a phrase that they coined. And this means that tasks or parts of tasks that are effortful are likely to be avoided. I can't see it, but at the top, Immersive Reader and Math Reader are both offloading technology that students can use with impaired EF function, in particularly weak memory. Let's take an example. Extraneous cognitive load refers to the way information or tasks are presented to a learner. A learner has an assignment. Read 5 chapters, take notes of important topics to answer 5 questions. Now, this seems like an easy 3-step direction, but to a learner that has EF impairment and weak working memory, these are the things that are happening for them. It involves comprehension, prioritizing information, outlining, knowing definitions, remembering pages. And this again becomes an overwhelming task because remember, they can't hold all that information in their working memory at one time. Frustration call starts and files get dropped. But if we can change the environment, we can change outcomes. So let's look at this student again. If they're able to offload labeling parts of speech, using a line function like a reader ruler, so they're not overwhelmed by so many words on a page. Use text decoding solutions, so they don't have to think about sounding out words. Keeping their own pace as they're reading and being able to listen and read at the same time. This then opens their working memory to be able to do the other tasks that are expected of them. If we can support activation, focus, and effort by supporting the working memory, the action is going to happen, and it's going to happen in a timely way. Can we go, I'm sorry, I'll go to my conclusion now because that's my last slide. The latest data provided by the National Center for Educational Statistics of undergraduate students self-reporting a disability is 19.5% as of October 27, 2020. Definitely underreported. And there is no myth of average. We're not sure about the students that come to our college. We're not sure if they have a disability unless they report to our office. But all students will benefit from using technology, a UDL design. And encouraging the use of technology may just be the help ticket needed to make a positive learning difference for all students. Now, here's Regina. She's going to explain the Immersive Reader features in Canvas in more detail.
Okay. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome.
That was very good information.
Thank you.
Let me get myself a little organized here. I am going to,
Thank you, Robert, for helping me.
that was just a little faux pas, Deb, just a little one. Okay. I know most of you today. I'm Regina Heerholzer, instructional designer in learning resources. And I've been working with most of you with your Canvas courses. And to relate to what Deb was talking about, I'm going to explain the Immersive Reader and how the students use it. Some of you may be aware of it, some of you may not be. So let me just click on that. And as you can see here, I have a Canvas page. So what the Immersive Reader helps students with, just two examples, two small examples. One is keeping their own pace, and however they choose to use the Immersive Reader, it helps them focus on what's being read to them. I know for me, I like to hear things read to me so I can write at the same time. So this is a perfect tool for the students. My first point is that the students have complete control of the Immersive Reader on the pages in Canvas, not discussions, not assignments, but on the pages. So it's important what you put on the pages in your Canvas courses. And they have complete control. The second thing is there is nothing you have to do to implement the Immersive Reader. Here's the button. And so now I'll explain how the student actually uses it. So I'll click on the Immersive Reader. I just want to point out the controls. Here's your content. Here's the play button. The voice settings. Text preferences, you can see as I'm rolling over, so you won't forget what's there. Grammar options, and also reading preferences. Now you can see I have content on this page. I don't want to scroll all the way down. And a student doesn't need to start at the very beginning, because if they're looking at the page for the second time, maybe they just want to go to a certain section, so they would just click on that area. But I'm going to start right at the top, and I'm going to go through the controls again and show you what each control does. So that's the play button. I'm not going to play yet. I'll do that at the end. I'll explain the other 4. Here's the voice settings, so they can go faster, they can go slower. They can change the voice from female to male. The text preferences, they can change the text size on the page. They can increase the spacing. They can change the font, and they can actually change the background of the page, because white text on black might be better for them. And believe it or not, there are so many more colors. It's up to the student to find out what they prefer. And you can show source formatting, which means like the italicize or the bold. So I'll turn that off. I'm going to go back to white. All right, I'm on white. So the next one, grammar options. So now they can select to see all of the syllables in the words. That helps the reader. They can choose to see all of the verbs. That definitely helps the reader. Maybe they want to just see the adjectives, nouns. I think everybody gets what I'm saying. Or we can turn them all on. So that's helpful for the reader. And these are the labels. It will show them. It really is helpful for somebody, especially somebody who's trying to learn the English language. Now, reading preferences. Line focus. Well, let me go back here because I want to turn all these off. Go back to regular. There we go. Turn off the syllables. Now I'll go back to the line preferences. And so we have line focus. Some readers need to read just one sentence on the page, and it helps them read or have it be read to them. So they're reading and it's also being read to them when they click the play button. Maybe 3 lines is enough. Maybe 5. They can turn that off. And then we have picture dictionary. Some of the words don't show a picture. Boardmaker is the program that is linked to the Immersive Reader, and it is very rudimentary, but I'll show you what I mean. So I put the Pictionary on it. So let's see, let's pick formatting. There we go. There it is in working. So a message, no, that wouldn't be one. It depends. Online. There we go, online. But the interesting thing is I can click a word and listen to it at the same time. So I'm going to turn that off. And then we have translation. I have it on English, but what if a student is, let's see, French, and they're trying to learn English with English so that they can go to school here. So they can do it by word count. And if earlier I just showed that you could listen in English, well, now you can listen in French. Go back up to reading preferences, and then we can turn on the whole entire document. And there we go, it's in French. So now I'm going to turn these off, make sure all my controls are off, and then I'm just going to show you the Immersive Reader in English, starting from the beginning. So I'm just going to hit the play button. Now that's a little fast. So I'm going to go maybe in the middle there, slow it down a little bit. Okay, I'll stop that there. And as I said earlier, maybe the students just want to go to a certain section of the page. And we begin there. I'm going to come up here to the line focus. templates on that. Okay, and there you have it. Any questions?
I have a question, Regina.
Okay.
Whose responsibility is it for students being aware of this? Is this the responsibility of us as the instructors? Is this the responsibility of the accessibility office to tell the students? Is it something that we should have on a sheet of some sort that introductory to our course, or explain, please?
That's a very good question, Steve. I would think that it is the responsibility of the instructor to let the students know that the immersive reader is available for them and that it is only available on pages. It's not on the assignments or the discussions. So just a short paragraph to let them know that it's there, and maybe a link to what the immersive reader does. That's a good suggestion as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
That's a good question. That's a real good question.
Okay, I have a question as well. I don't know if my audio is working. Can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So if it only works on assignments, would you recommend that then when we create assignments and we want to use this, then we have within our assignments a link to a page with the details? Is that the best way? Because
Well,
I try not to make it too complicated to get assignments done.
yes, and that's a very good point. Let me go out of this.
Okay, and one more question with it, and I'll mute myself, which is if we have a textbook learning mod, whatever the word is, that's linked to our Canvas site, do the textbooks have a similar program, or?
It depends on the publisher and if they
Okay, I'll look into that too.
incorporate the if they incorporate the immersive reader. But as
That's
far
neat.
as, so it depends on your content and depends on what you need the students to focus on, because it also is suggested that you do put the content in the assignment so the student doesn't need to go out of the assignment to read what they need to do.
Right, I remember that. So,
And
It's
guys,
toss up. It's
interrupt,
toss up.
we have a lot of content to go through. If we could hold all questions or put them in the chat box, we will follow up with you individually, and each person who's best to answer that will assist you with it. And I apologize, we just have a lot more to get through, but thank you. These are fantastic questions.
Mhm, yes, they are. Okay, I think that my presentation is over and I'm going to introduce Debbie Carney. So I'm going to stop my share. And then Debbie, if you want to take it away.
Okay, sure. Let's see. Just sharing my screen here. And today I'm going to be talking about the Canvas Accessibility Checker. This scans for common accessibility errors within the editor, and it really walks you through how to fix these errors with accessibility. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a page. And to use the accessibility checker, you need to be in edit mode. And many of you might notice that the Canvas toolbar has changed since last semester here. So now the accessibility checker is located here in the right-hand bottom corner. It's the circle with the little man inside. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And the accessibility checker comes up and we can see we have 6 issues that we need to address. So the first issue says, images should include an alt attribute describing the image content. And the image it's referring to is highlighted here on the page. So what they're really talking about is alternative text. And the purpose of alternative text is to provide a non-visual description of your images for users who are blind or have low vision. An adaptive technology like a screen reader will read the description aloud to its users. Now, all text should be concise and to the point. And if an image is purely decorative and doesn't convey meaning on your page, you could actually mark it as decorative. And in this case, this image on the page is decorative. So I'm going to go ahead and click decorative image and then click apply, and Canvas will correct this issue for you. And the next issue also has to do with alternative text. It says image file name should not be used as the alt attribute describing the image content. You can see it's in here as lock.jpg, so the file name. Going to X out here so you can get a better look of the image that it's referring to. And this image does convey meaning here. It's telling you how to use the lock until function in Canvas. So if I go back to the accessibility checker, I can just go ahead and add a description for my alt text. And I'm going to add arrow pointing to lock until. Box below has space for date to unlock. And I had already typed that in, but if you have to type it in, you just type in a brief explanation and then click apply. Now, the next issue that the Canvas accessibility checker finds has to do with headings. Now, headings help screen reader users get a sense of a page's organization and structure. For sighted users, this is often done through larger and bolded font at the start of each new section. But it's important to apply correct headings using Canvas's built-in heading structure. And this can be accessed from the drop-down menu next to paragraph. And you can see you can use heading 2, 3, or 4 because Canvas automatically assigns page titles a heading 1. So example with errors, advice for new distance learning teachers, that's our heading 1. And so that means you can use heading 2, 3, and 4. But heading levels should not be skipped because this can be confusing to screen reader users, and it also does not comply with the web content accessibility guidelines. If you don't like the size that, of font that the heading is assigned, you can apply a heading structure and then change the font afterwards, and the heading structure will still be maintained. So this error is telling us that heading levels have been skipped. So from the drop-down menu here, we can fix our heading hierarchy and click apply. Now, the next error that the Canvas accessibility checker finds has to do with tables. It says tables should include a caption describing the contents of the table. And this helps screen reader users to find a table and understand what the table is about. So if I X out here, we can see our table is here and it does not include either a title or a caption to describe the table. So if we go back to the accessibility checker, we can add a brief caption, and I'm going to add undergraduate experience with student support and click apply. And the next issue also has to do with our table here. It says tables should include at least one header. And what happens if you have designated headers, a screen reader will announce the relevant header along with the data in the cell. And this gives context to users about the table and what's inside of it. So sometimes a table will need both a row header and a column header. In this case, we only need a header row. And you can see here from the drop-down menu, you can select which is applicable for your table. So I'm going to click on header row and click apply. And the final issue that the accessibility checker finds has to do with color contrast. Now, if I X out here, you can see what it is saying is there's not adequate color contrast between the white background and the font color that's being used. And it's important to use significant contrast between the background of your page and the font color. This will make it easier for those who are colorblind or have low vision to read your page. So this can be corrected using the accessibility checker. If we go back here and drag this little circle to a darker font color and click apply, it will fix this error. And now we have fixed all of our accessibility issues. I'm going to click save. And if you do this for each of your pages in Canvas and your assignments and discussions, it also is available for those, then you're on your way to making your course more accessible. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Rob, who's going to talk about Microsoft tools.
All right, so let me just share my screen for everyone here. Bear with me, I want to make sure it's optimized. All right. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. My name is Robert Bowers, and I work in the Accessibility Office as a Software Test Analysis Adaptive Technology Specialist. In my session, I will go over the Immersive Reader feature built into Microsoft applications, such as Onenote, that uses the text-to-speech to read math expressions out loud. On the Microsoft blog, they go into 10 ways Microsoft tools can help you build a UDL classroom that works for every student. The link is accessible in this slide for you to access at a later time. It will dive deeper into what Regina presented and what I'm about to introduce. Now, as I go over, OneNote is an application that will have access to within our Office 365 Bucks account. And to get to this, first you need to log into Office 365. So to do that, you could just go to Bucks for Students. I'm sure you guys know how to access the email by now, but there's another option in here as you go in and you click on the little app launcher over here. Forgive me for the lag. And you should see a OneNote right here. So once you click into that, you'll be able to create tabs and go right into typing math. As you can see, I have ones already preset. Right now I'm in Edge. It actually, my OneNote tools will actually work in Chrome and Firefox, but sometimes it tends to lag a little bit. It has to refresh the page and sync it to the cloud. So the tools might not be instantly there for you at the time. So after you have created the tabs, you can go right into typing the problems. As you can see, some of the problems are already right here. And it's good, as you can see, simple problems can be typed from what
Rob,
I
we're not
noticed.
seeing the problem.
You're not seeing the problems? What are you seeing?
The icon for Office.
The icons for Office. That's not what I see. Let me just double check my share. Do you see the screen? What do you say?
We're seeing the icon.
Probably because I jumped around.
With the,
All right, let me just restop. Let me just reshare. Sorry for the confusion here. Okay, here we go. Should be good now. Everyone see that?
On the Bucks, we're on the
Okay.
Bucks page.
Okay, did everyone see how to get to the OneNote, or that wasn't shown?
That wasn't shown.
yeah, we didn't see that.
Wasn't shown. Okay, well, you go to the Bucks page and you would go to Bucks for Students and Bucks Mail. Once the Outlook loads, on the left-hand side, you would see the app launcher. In the app launcher, there's the tool OneNote. Now these, we all have access to it because we all have Office 365. and we should all be able to go right into it. As you can see, I have a couple of them already created, and we're going to jump right into that. So let me see if I can get into it without much lag. So I'm going to go into the Tech Day one. And as you can see, I have the equations. Does everyone see the equations I have?
We're still on the Bucks page.
You're still on the Bucks page. Okay.
You're gonna have to reshare each tab.
That is the plan. Okay, you should be able to see it now. Is
Nope.
it shown? No?
Rob, we're just seeing Rob has started screen sharing. It's a black screen.
Okay. Let's give it a minute.
Rob, do you want to take control of my computer?
I'll give it one more shot, and then we might have to actually do that.
Okay.
Okay. Is it up there now?
We can see it now, yes.
And math equations and all?
Yes, Rob, it's there.
All right. All right. All right. So we got into it. Now that we're in the slide, did everyone see how I got into OneNote? Now, now that's done, I can go into it and we can actually check on the problems. So you can actually type in the problems manually, like, you know, some simple equations, something like that. And it's easier to have it on a tablet because, you know, you can actually write them in here for the complicated problems. Because when it comes to those things, I noticed that it doesn't have all the symbols in regards to creating complicated equations, as you can see from down here. But you can do it regardless, and you can still write them by hitting on the draw button. And the little pencil icon allows you to do so. So you can do it the best you can. It will catch it, it will translate it just like the Immersive Reader. And you can also make corrections if it doesn't catch it properly. And to do that, all you have to do is within the Draw tab, you have this option right here that says Math. So after you click on the Math, you
Rob,
should be able to.
nothing is, anything that you're trying to put onto the board, it's not going onto the board for us.
It's not? You
No.
don't see anything?
Rob, I'm pulling up the application now. Just take control of my computer.
Okay. Let me stop my share. Let me know when you're ready, Jen.
I'm ready for you.
Okay. All you have to do is share your screen then.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. Hold on, it's being difficult.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
All right, so I am going to jump in.
Go for it, Rob.
Okay. So what browser are you in?
You're in Firefox, sorry.
Firefox. It should work in Firefox. Let's see. Okay, new notebook. Just type in math for now. Click on create. All right. Just going to create a new section here. All right. We're cooking with gas now. Now what I'm trying to do is click on the screen so I can actually type. Okay, here we go. So if I hit in a problem, let's do that, and now I can do draw. And if I click on the bots, I should be able to pull it up. Okay. Forgive me, I am actually looking at a much smaller screen now. What I'm trying to do is to select the marquee tool so I can highlight the item. After I highlight the item, I should be able to hit the math equation. Jen, if you don't see it moving, could you possibly help me a little bit because I am remoted into your computer? Click on the marquee right there, that little box there, correct? If you can click on that and highlight 5 plus 10 after the marquee is selected. And you're going to drag and drop across it. Okay, now it should be highlighted. So could you possibly click on the math icon under the draw toolbar with the little numbers and equations? Awesome. Now it's going to take a few minutes to load it, especially in Firefox. But what should happen is a step-by-step tutorial should be popping up with the Immersive Reader. Now I notice it does lag a little bit on Firefox and it does lag on Edge a little bit. A good thing is if you use Chrome, which we use Canvas on, it will be much more faster and it will kick on. So Jen, could you possibly refresh that page for me so we can get this going so we can show what's going on with it?
Yep, bear with me one sec.
Mhm. Okay, now do the same thing you did last time. And let's see, it's under the draw tool. There you go. And if you want, on the right-hand side, could you click on the edge sign and then edge it out and then redo it over again so it refreshes it?
Okay.
Okay.
Your pictures might be covering it popping up.
It actually is not even showing. So what
Oh.
I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump right to the 10 tools because it's going to show it on that. Okay. So we
Okay.
can not miss a beat here. So if you want to stop your share, I'm just going to go share my screen once again. And it's going to be on the Microsoft blog because that's just going to go into detail on it as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So once again, I will share my screen. Gotta love technology. Okay.
Usually when it works.
Yeah. Should we, do we all see this?
Yes.
All right. So as you can see, this is the blog I was talking about earlier. It's obviously going to go in much more detail. And if you do attend the Microsoft section, which I highly recommend, they will go into greater detail about what me and Regina talked about, and also go into more detail of any other concerns or questions you may have with Office 365 that we all have access to. So as you go down, you can actually see the 10 ways. It helps you understand word meanings more easily and improve vocabulary, as from what Regina told you. And it goes into more of those steps. So just in case you want to re-watch those or just click on round, you can have that. And let's see what gets to the math part. So this goes all into what Deborah and Regina have discussed. So let's go a little bit farther down. And as you could tell, it also helps students read, understand steps, and show their work in math. So essentially, you can actually write the problems out like I was trying to do earlier. And with the math solver tool that would pop up on the right-hand side, you can actually bring up equations. And within that, you can actually use, there's actually another tool in there within OneNote that's called It is called the Classroom Notebook, and that notebook is for instructors. So they can actually use that tool and have a set for the students where the students will log in with their own 365 account, and the math tool will provide answers. So the class notebook allows the instructors to block that option so the students won't have the ability to see the answers right away. And you can drop that and activate that on will on your own rate. So like I said, again, I do recommend you guys checking out the Microsoft one because it will go in much more detail, and I'm hoping they don't have as much technical issues as we had earlier today. So on that note, I just want to let everyone know that we here in the accessibility office and with the help of the liaisons at the Learning Resources Center are here to help assure equal access in education and to assist faculty, staff, and students. So I appreciate your time in joining this session, and I'm actually going to pass it on to Jen.
Okay. So Rob, thank you so very much. So I know we threw a lot of information at you today. Again, I want to remind everybody that Microsoft is coming up right after us, and they will be going into all the different accessibility options that are available and free for you and the students to use. I would also like to remind everybody, we generally do not know how many people on campus have a disability. Nobody is required to tell us that they have a learning need, a physical disability, a vision issue, a hearing impairment, anything. Even us, we may not realize if we're wearing glasses like me, I have a vision impairment. So I had to go get a new prescription because I wasn't seeing my email so great, and being home on the screen all day has definitely made my prescription needs a little bit bigger. We also don't know, we may have a non-traditional student who's come back who is losing their hearing and they don't realize it. So these are different things that we will encounter on a regular basis in our daily lives. If we differentiate our instruction and our approach to the various learning needs that students have, we're going to make a greater experience for all students. The other thing is multiple approaches to education. As you all know, if you touch the information in multiple ways, hearing it and seeing it allows our students to have that much more knowledge and really get the concepts that we're trying to bring across to them. I have to say, a lot of my colleagues are jealous in disability services because all of you are always attending our trainings, reaching out to us. So I want to let you know, in the community college disability service world, you guys are rock stars. So I just want to say thank you for all that you do to make our campus accessible for students who have identified and not identified. So again, I appreciate everything that you do. We also want to remember that sounds like a lot of work, but if you do it up front, it's going to carry over when you copy your classes. And if you get into those habits, it's only a little bit more work up front compared to having to change it every semester when you bump into a problem. So again, we are here in the accessibility office. You can have an appointment with Deb, me, or Rob at any time. You can also meet with Deb Carney or Regina at any time. Just reach out to us. We will set up team appointments. We can set up individual appointments. We can help with one little problem that pops up. We are here for you as much as we are for the students. Please don't be bashful. We love working with you guys, and being remote, we really miss seeing you. So it would be nice to interact with our faculty a little bit more. So again, please, if you can't get to the next training with Microsoft that starts at 9:30, we highly recommend you go back and watch it. They also have a lot of great training videos. So if you want to go back and check something out a little bit more in depth, we also recommend that.